December 8th, 1980. The world changed forever. One of the most iconic musicians in history, John Lennon, was gunned down outside his home in New York City. It was a moment that stunned the globe. Not just the end of a life, but the end of an era. Today, we're at the very place where it all happened, the Dakota building, to unravel the haunting story behind the murder of a legend. The Dakota is a grand Gothic-style apartment building located on West 72nd Street in Manhattan. Built in the 1880s, it became home to John Lennon and Yoko Ono in 1973. By the late 1970s, Lennon was living a relatively quiet life here, raising his son, Sean, baking bread, and working on his comeback album, Double Fantasy. But that peaceful life was shattered on a cold Monday evening. Mark David Chapman, a 25-year-old from Hawaii, had been obsessed with Lennon for years. On the surface, he seemed like any other fan, but behind the scenes, his mind was unraveling.
He was shot late this evening in front of his apartment building in New York City. Apparently, he was killed almost immediately. The man who shot John Lennon walked up to the musician as he was leaving his limousine. According to eyewitnesses, he said, "Mr. Lennon," and then fired at him point blank at least 5 times.
He grew disillusioned with Lennon's statements about religion and wealth, especially the infamous line, "We're more popular than Jesus." Chapman flew to New York with a mission to kill the man he believed had betrayed the values he once represented. In his hotel room, he clutched a copy of The Catcher in the Rye, calling himself the catcher who must protect the children.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Brokaw. This is today, December 9th. I'm here with Jane Pauley, and this entire half hour will be devoted to the murder of John Lennon, ex-Beatle, one of the best-known musicians and most influential people of his time. As you heard Dr. Stephen Lynn at Roosevelt Hospital in New York City say, Lennon was shot and killed at about 11 o'clock last night outside his apartment building.
On the morning of December 8th, 1980, Chapman waited outside the Dakota, clutching a copy of Lennon's new album. Around 5 p.m., John and Yoko left for a recording session. As they walked to their limo, Chapman approached Lennon, not with a weapon, but with an album. John signed it. A fan nearby even took a photo of the exchange. John Lennon, unknowingly signing his last autograph for the man who would kill him just hours later. At around 10:50 p.m., the couple returned home. As they walked past the archway of the Dakota, Chapman stepped out of the shadows and fired 5 shots. 4 bullets struck Lennon in the back and shoulder. He collapsed, bleeding heavily. Yoko screamed. The doorman called for help. Chapman didn't flee. He sat down calmly and read The Catcher in the Rye until police arrived.
He was there on Saturday asking about Mr. Lennon. He was there on Sunday asking about Mr. Lennon. And he was there again this afternoon when Mr. Lennon and his wife left for a recording session. He was able to obtain an autograph on an album from Mr. Lennon as he left for the recording studio where he was going. He remained at that location all evening waiting for Mr. Lennon to come back. Sometime shortly before 11 o'clock, John Lennon and his wife arrived back at the Dakota in a limousine. They parked the limousine on the curb right outside the Dakota. There is a driveway into which they might have gone, but on this occasion did not. They got out of the car, out of the limousine, and walked into the archway area of the Dakota. To the right, as you walk in the archway area, is kind of a vestibule, which has a doorway, a glass doorway. This individual, Mr. Chapman, came up behind him and called to him, "Mr. Lennon," as he arrived at that doorway. And then in a combat stance, he emptied the Charter Arms .38 caliber gun that he had with him and shot John Lennon.
John Lennon was rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, but was pronounced dead on arrival. He was 40 years old. The news spread like wildfire. That night, thousands gathered outside the Dakota in stunned silence. Radio stations played nothing but Beatles music. The world had lost more than a musician. They'd lost a symbol of peace, rebellion, and hope. Chapman was arrested at the scene and later sentenced to 20 years to life in prison, where he remains to this day.
Well, parole is denied once again for the man who killed John Lennon. Mark David Chapman shot Lennon in the back 4 times in December of 1980.
In 2000, he became eligible for parole, which has since been denied every time. Today, Strawberry Fields, a section of Central Park just across from the Dakota, stands as a living memorial to Lennon. A mosaic simply reads, "Imagine." Visitors from around the world leave flowers, messages, and music. They come not just to remember how he died, but to honor how he lived.